Hello and welcome. We are live at Czech Premodern Championship 2025. I'm Adam Koska.
And I'm Tomáš Vlček.
And we are going to be commenting 8 rounds of Premodern today.
Yes, it will be difficult, but I'm really excited about it.
I'm excited too. We've already had, on top of the 8 rounds, of course, there's going to be quarterfinals, semifinals, finals. You're not going to miss any of the action that's going to be going on here today. It's already the 3rd Czech Premodern Championship, I believe.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
And I have to say, it's always a rush, right? We start with round 1, and suddenly it's like 10 p.m. and we are finishing the finals, and only then you feel totally exhausted. But it's such a, all the excitement and everything connected with it, the community, and some great games because we always had great games.
Time flies when you're tapping Dreadnought sideways, I gotta say. It's like, oof, you don't realize it, and I don't know if that's really your thing, or
yes, not quite, but I remember last time we were commenting the finals. There was a Burn player who won, and he was playing it like he was playing standstill.
Jiří Moravec, I believe.
I think so.
I think that was the European Championship.
That was the European Championship,
right? Yeah,
right.
But
so,
I mean, everybody, after so much magic, people can get a little tired, but we got there every single time. We got a champion. We're gonna have one today as well, I believe.
Yes. What I'm most excited about the brews, what people brought, what's new, and so on. Yeah. If you play Premodern, you always like the brews, don't you?
Yeah, that's part of.
We will get some our portion of Dreadnoughts and Parallax Tides and Goblin Luckies turn 1. Maybe, and some Sly, but I'm quite excited about some other cards as well.
Yeah, but speaking of cards that people are going to play today, we're going to have a detailed look at the metagame breakdown just in a bit. But in general, first, how would you say the metagame has evolved compared to last year? 12 months have passed. What's new? What's stayed?
Well, there is something, there's my mind and there's also my heart, and my heart tells me that Enchantress is competitive.
Oh,
and
okay.
We saw it of Hands of Riche in North America, and it was beautiful. If you haven't seen the deck list, definitely check it out, because it's always when you see deck list, and I've been playing Enchantress for almost 2 decades. You understand every single card, and it was so obvious that he put so much effort, so much thought into it, playing like 4 Mirror's Guile, cutting some cards that I thought are uncuttable, like Elephant Grass and so on. An incredible sideboard with 3 Carpet of Flowers and 3 Stunted Swarm, right? In a deck where you don't play any other creatures. I think I'm always surprised by new approaches to old strategies. So for me, that's like one of the big winners of last year.
And that's LobsterCon, right? That we're talking about.
Yes.
So you've been playing Enchantress for 2 decades. I've been losing to Enchantress for 2 decades. It's
Adam, be serious. Nobody loses to Enchantress. Enchantress loses to itself, but.
But I gotta say, I think you mentioned 3 Carpet of Flowers, and I think to me that kind of symbolizes the shift that we've seen with a lot more mono blue, with Parallax Tide maybe at the top of the format at this point. Who needs lands when you have Carpet of Flowers and
or 2
or 2? Yeah, things can get out of hand pretty quickly. So maybe that's one of the shifts that we've seen. Parallax Tide dominating. Would you agree?
Could be, and of course we have eternal struggle and eternal discussion about bans and unbans, and definitely if there is a card with like big target on it, it's Parallax Tide. I think that's really card people hate the most to play against. And it just feels so unfair, and I'm a big fan of like black-green mid-range decks, and it feels like you can never beat that. It's very, very strong.
These decks
and maybe not so much fun, and it doesn't even cost too much. Like, it's not such an investment. I think.
Yeah, and there's so many ways to abuse it. You can have Chain of Vapor, you can have Seal of Cleansing, or even just like taking their lands and then
for like 2 turns and kill them. Or Stifle is incredible because you can take them like 1 by 1. He plays extra, and then you just stifle it. I used to play it with Tradewind Rider. Back in the day.
Okay. That is must have been a lot of blue 4 drops in that deck.
Yes.
I used to play it with Ankh of Mishra.
Yeah,
so
that's
there's a lot of ways you can break
combo of death.
Yes, yeah, deal 10. Yeah. Yes. Okay, but I would say that that's maybe the only card that's kind of on the radar there for possible bans, which to me it just shows that the format is really in a really good shape right now.
Yes.
We've heard some discussions about Firex and Dreadnought before. I don't think that's an issue anymore here. You know, like even the Dreadnought decks are more like tight decks these days that sometimes just board out their Dreadnoughts and just go for like full-on control. Anything that we could see unbanned?
Just before we talk about unbans, I still think it's probably normal, like you can't probably ban anything, but I feel like Sly is maybe just like a few % more powerful than it was necessary. I think it's very, very strong, and of course they can draw badly, you can get some sideboard hate, but I think Sly is very, very strong, and as a player who never touches that deck, I'm always on the other side of the table.
You know, to me, Sly is just such an inherent part of the format that I'm perfectly okay with seeing it do well, and it's not like it's pushing other decks out of the format. I think like if you want to beat Sly and you do your homework and you come prepared, then you can have decent chances.
Yes,
but the deck is strong for sure, and
I feel like if you play slower deck, you need white.
You need
like white in general.
Sure.
Like because I don't think there is anything in other colors. There's
you can have chill and blasts. The question is it enough?
Yes,
but
blasts are good. Blasts are good. Yeah.
But
let's go to unban.
Sure.
So do you see any card that could be unbanned? Like everybody already, I hope you all have your playset of Necropotence.
I think every Premodern player should be prepared, right?
Yes, it's probably for a year already. You have the
they've been sitting
playset
on them for some time, waiting.
Yes.
Sure. I mean, generally speaking, when looking at unbans, I think people were saying that black is underpowered in format, and that helps a little. It needs some little help, and then you can argue for Entomb. That I think for me that doesn't help black in general, but that just like pushes either some combo decks or Reanimator. I think that's the question if that's what you want to be doing in the format. Necropotence, sure. I mean, why not? I mean, I'm all for trying it. Worst thing that happens is we are going to have a Necro Summer and then it gets banned in autumn, right? Like how bad can that be? But yeah, sure. I mean, I think it's something that the format is ready to test to see if
I know it's probably, I'm not sure how popular this opinion is, but we could in theory, like that would be my take, we could include like Fallen Empires. We would get High Tide and we would get him to Turak. And I think
Goblin Grenade.
Goblin Grenade. That's don't want to see it. Yes,
you said that burn is overpowered. Just wait and see what goblins with Goblin Grenade can do.
Goblin Grenade is very strong. But I feel like black, like this classic black card. I think I was saying it during our first edition that when we built some of our first deck with Štěpán Herinek, I think we had like the first 2 decks and we were playing, and I had like 3 Him to Turak in the deck.
They were good,
and
right?
I was just like crushing it, and I was like, oh, everybody's so stupid. And when I saw these deck lists, nobody's playing Him to Turak. So I was thinking that could be, I think, great card. When it comes to Entomb, I mean, we have Dark Ritual.
We do.
So you have Dark Ritual, Entomb, Reanimate, or Animate that. Or combination of those. So basically you get reanimation spell 1 of 8. You can have Exhume as well. So basically reanimation spell you will have plenty. And if you have opener of Dark Ritual and Entomb and any of these, you have like, even if it's Verdant Force, I think most decks just can't beat it.
The thing is that the creatures are not as strong as in other formats, but you still have kind of creatures that specifically beat a certain deck. You go for Phantom Nishoba, certain decks cannot win if you do that at turn 1. You go for, you say Verdant Force is great, even Akroma, which is not a super strong card, but against certain decks, it will do the work. So maybe that's the problem with Entomb, that it's kind of like it searches for what beats your opponent.
Yes, and since we have no way how to interact turn 0.
Yeah, right.
We don't have Force Oil, we don't have Surgical Extraction, we don't play Line of the Void. So I think that would be probably like a better player experience, in my opinion. To have.
How about this? We unban Fallen Empires. we unban Entomb, we unban Necropotence, we ban Dark Ritual. Would that solve this turn one problem?
I mean, if Dark Ritual is not a card, like you can still have Lotus Petal. You can do it. You can do it anyway, and these decks will probably play
it's
some.
It's gonna narrow a little bit.
But it narrows it a lot because you then
right?
need to reanimate. You need to have specific like 3 cards, and it's obviously much harder. So I think it's just generally, yes. I just don't want to that feeling when you open and you just lose on turn 1. It just feels bad.
Yeah, that's I think that should be a pretty important factor when deciding what to ban and what to unban. Not just what dominates, but also like what creates healthy games, right?
Because we don't have it, right? There is nothing you do turn 1 that you just lose, right? Like one of the strongest plays in Premodern is turn 1 Negator after board. Or turn 1 something of Dark Ritual.
Yeah.
Obviously, Goblin Lucky is one of the strongest plays in, but you should be prepared for it, and before it does anything, you can respond to it. So that's that would be my issue with it.
Yeah, sure. I agree. We have a bit of time before round 1 begins, so maybe we can have a look very quickly at our metagame today. So at the top of the meta, we have Burn. As everyone's favorite, except for Tomasz, but everyone else's favorite. We have the meta breakdown here. The letters are a little bit tiny, but you can see that big blue chunk. That is our Burn players in the room.
It's very intuitive.
Trying to
color.
Sure. Yes. The mono blue kind of wedge right over there.
Then on 8% we have goblins. So basically 20% of meta is like mono red deck.
These 2 decks are very different though.
Yes,
like to me it's like sure you board in blasts, but there's a lot that you need to like they beat different decks.
But for blue decks, right? but that's why I think like the hate card probably against red decks is Blue Blast in my opinion.
That's
because
kind
it's
of like
just
a catch-all.
It's so versatile. Kills lucky. It kills something that's already on the board, but you can counter like Goblin Ringleader. You know, you can destroy Vortex. Like sometimes when you don't counter Vortex, you die. But like Hydroblast answers it. So maybe a little bit underplayed card in some blue decks. I have to say I like it a lot. It feels very confident when I have it.
Yeah. So that's Burn and Goblins, still the pillars of the format, unsurprisingly, I would say, and the 2 of the most popular decks. What else do we have here?
Yes, then we have Stifle Knot on another 8%.
I'm curious how many of those Stifle Knots become mono blue control post board, because that's a strategy that we've seen. I think that's a completely legitimate strategy. You kind of switch your win cons around.
So what's your win con post board? Do you still keep some Dreadnought? How does it work? Like I know you bring Parallax Tide, and you want to play like slow game and get card advantage with Gush and cards like that. But how do you win?
I think you can just win with mana lands at that point. Right, like if they don't have any lands, then and the deck generates a lot of card advantage. They have Flash of Insight to kind of tutor what you need. Maybe you can keep like a couple of Dreadnoughts. You don't have to cut all of them. Maybe the mono blue Dreadnought players out there will tell us in the chat what they think, how they win post board if they board out their win cons, their Dreadnoughts. But I think that if your opponent just goes all in on answering Dreadnought, then it means that they won't have that many answers against Fairy Conclave, for example, if that's what you want, or Mishra's Factory. It's still an artifact. But I think that's just like you try to drag the game as long as you want. Some decks I've seen play Brain Freeze post board. So like in the game that just goes on forever, you play Brain Freeze for 4 at some point, you win, maybe another one after that.
I have to say this card is sometimes under radar of some, but as a blue player myself, as somebody who likes to play control decks, sometimes it feels like you play this long draw and go game against Dreadnought. You have all the sorts of Plowshares, you're ready, for whatever he's doing. And then you realize at some point that you can't win anymore. Because whatever you do, whatever you put on the stack, he just brain freezes you.
I love the fact that it's not a combo card. It's just a finisher. It's like a mill 12, mill 15. That's enough, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is a legitimate strategy.
And that Flash Insight beautifully brings everything together. So Like the rug that ties the room together.
It is. It's one of those cards that's been in the format for years. And then suddenly people started noticing it was like one-off in the board, but
it's like a story of Premodern, isn't it? It's like, okay, did you know this card? That's only been around for about 25 years, we only discover it now.
Yeah, it's all those forums, where there's like discussion. What is the next hidden treasure that we are looking straight at it and we don't see it? Like, what is it?
Because I think for me it's kind of the carpet of flowers that has been around, but nobody really played it. Like, people try to choke, they try to choke, they try to I don't know, pyroblast, whatever it was against blue decks, but this is incredible, and it's beautifully reacting to that parallax tide.
That's what I wanted to say. It's like, to me, it's not just a response to blue decks in general, but it's like specifically an answer to parallax tide, right? Like before, if you had like blue-white land still decks, they didn't even play all that many islands in the first place. Yeah. And then like getting mana was not what you wanted against them, right? Yeah. But against parallax tides, beautiful. Yeah.
Yes, that's why I was also skeptic about choke, because they play, especially against this like blue-white deck, like they have other colorways, they have coastal tower, they have all the man lands, so it didn't seem that strong. But if we just go faster, then we have 8% rogue, which is
What's
obviously.
That?
What
is it?
I have maybe we have our decks. We'll talk about our decks later.
I think both of the decks that we play are definitely rogue.
Yes, they are definitely rogue. Then we have everybody's favorite, every beginner's favorite, Dead Gael. Which is,
I wouldn't just say beginner though. Like, I think the deck just has a lot of tools to it. It's like you can answer basically anything that people throw at you. Right?
That is true. On the other hand, like when you see the deck list, you know what is it about. It's not that you'll be surprised. Of course, there are some minor interactions. You can play some sideboard cards, especially obviously white has some good sideboard cards. But I think overall, you know what you're doing. Like your Dark Ritual, like Arena turn 1, and then you just discard, kill everything, destroy everything, discard his hand. Yeah. I think it's a very simple strategy, and people like that.
Yeah.
Like,
you can go a little more on the control side with like Eternal Dragons. You can go with what you said, like Ritual, Hypnotic Spectre, Nantucket. Right, but. The core of the deck, I would say, stays the same.
I still have sideboard from like the magazine sideboard from about 25 years ago, when it has like 2 pages article on how powerful is Nantucket Shade. It's like you play turn 1, but you attack for 5 turn 3.
Ooh.
So so then we have Parallax Replenish, which is I think one of the boogeyman of the format, because when you lose, you were never in the game, it seems like, and whatever you did, and he rips the replenish off the top, and you just dead. So it's very, very, very strong dead, especially paradoxically, especially against like some blue decks. Like it's very strong. It has powerful tools, including like Mana Short and Orim's Chant. That's
Abeyance, Orim's Chant, Mana Short. All these decks these cards are there to make sure that your replenish resolves. Yes. And to me, the blue-white replenish is a deck that's been constantly, like, step by step, month by month. It's like been rising a little bit, to basically the position of the top combo deck of the format.
I wonder, do you think Parallax Replenish is not more represented because of its price? Because it is one of the more expensive decks.
Sure.
Because you need City of Traitors, and all the cards like Replenish and some of the other cards. I'm not sure about Opalescence. They are quite expensive.
Right.
Maybe Opalescence is like 30 euros. But I think Replenish will be in the thousands.
I mean,
it's like 100, 150.
In Czech crowns, yes. Not your euros. Yeah.
Sorry, 40 euros is 1,000 crowns. So I think it will be probably about over 100, 150 euros for Replenish.
I'm not much of a trader, but I would say that you're probably right. And it might be one of the reasons, I would say also another reason could be that it's just the play style of that deck is not for everyone. Not everybody in the format is a combo player. Some people like to tap creatures sideways and not just, animated enchantments. But to me the deck is strong. I also love the fact that you can play more like combo way with Frantic Surge, Attunement, or you can go more for like fair, like late game. We've seen mana leaks in there.
Yes, with some counterspell and extra removal. Yeah. But definitely super strong deck, and sometimes like you feel like you waste them, you put them down, and suddenly they just play like the soul land with Frantic Surge. They generate 4 mana out of nothing, and you can die. So Very strong deck.
dangerous.
And what's super strong about it is when he gets on the 4 mana, which with these soul lands is not that hard, he starts casting these big 4 mana enchantments, and you kind of have to counter it or answer it, or it takes him so much time. And then when you counter everything or deal with everything, he replenishes.
I mean, Tide you have to counter, otherwise you're not countering anything else.
Yes.
The next turns.
So it's very strong. The best way how to deal with replenish, I think, is like Sly, put so much pressure on them. They might have to take some damage with Ancient Tomb, and you just finish them before they can do anything.
Yeah, sure.
Also, when they don't have mana, of course they can't do much, and that 4 mana can be sometimes harder to get. Then we have Survival on 4%.
Okay, Survival. That's also a card that goes in a lot of decks. And so, what kind of Survival are we talking about here?
I mean, the classic Survival was Elves. That was like the most successful deck historically in Premodern that was using the card. Yeah. But lately we've seen all sorts of versions of Survival, Opposition, Blue Green. We've seen a Full English Breakfast, like the combo deck with Walrus Shapeshifter.
Yeah. We've seen it even in decks that were previously in the format but without Survival maybe, and then they kind of adopted it. For example, Blue Green Madness, even Black Green Rock.
Yeah.
I think is Survival makes a lot of sense there. And then you can go to kind of like niche and funky decks like Sneak Attack, for example, or I've seen some red green aggro yesterday at the tournament that played Survival for Basking Root Dwellers and
I've seen it even in like Aluren.
Okay.
In Aluren.
Okay, yeah.
And I wonder if there is ever a world where it could be somehow played in Enchantress. I'm not so sure, but
the creature density is not super high there, right?
Yes,
it's nice to have Argothian Enchantress whenever you need it, but
it's like you always it feels like you always have it, right? When you have the Argothian and you play Survival, you draw a card, and when you have Survival and you have Argothian, you can discard it and get Squee and get more Argothian.
Could you play Elvish Spirit Guides there? So that you can have like turn 1 Argothian Enchantress, or you have stuff to discard into Survival.
Yes. I mean that has been the thing in the past. Like one player I look up to many years ago that was playing Enchantress, Lukáš Kraft.
Oh yes.
So he used to play Lotus Petal to have Enchantress turn 1, but overall it doesn't seem like a viable strategy.
It's
overall.
a bit on the less consistent side, right? Like you add explosiveness and firepower, but then you have dead cards when you need some gas. Sure, it's like the eternal question of consistency versus explosiveness.
Yes, and then just very quickly, because
round
1 is about to start. We have Tide Control, which is like a slower replenish. Let's say it's like blue-white standstill with that Parallax Tide in it.
Or it's like Mono Blue Dreadnought if you forgot the Dreadnoughts at home.
Yeah. Or you don't want to buy them. Then we have Enchantress, Big Hay.
Yes.
Pit Wreck, also like a deck I like so much because it's so easy to get into the format with like mono black deck.
Sure.
And it's fun deck to play, and it's not overpowered, but I like it a lot. Then we have Terrageddon, also very, very strong deck. Especially, it has one of my favorite cards in the format, which is Weathered Wayfarer, which I'm still pondering how to make it like work with with something like Scroll Wreck, or something like that. Yeah. And then we have Landstill or Devourer combo, Landstill, Machine Head, which that's really like blast from the past. There was like a Type 2 deck.
Yeah. Blazing Spectre is just
Spectre.
trying to do their best impression of Hypnotics. Yeah.
So now we have Stasis. Now Survival Opposition. So that Survival we talked about is a different Survival. Then we have Rock at 2%. Which definitely, it seems like people, play Rock less and less,
Yeah, that's true. To me, it's like Dead Guy Ale, kind of, the fair deck, but maybe a little bit weaker. Depends on the meta, I guess. It's just definitely has worse removal spells, but.
Yes, I think my problem, I think we discussed it, but the problem with Rock is that you are not doing anything very well.
Sure, right? You're doing everything, but it's like the 49% deck.
Yes, that's one thing. Then you have a lot of discard, but then you don't have follow-up often. Or your follow-up is...
Bailiff?
Yes,
Recurring Nightmare?
Yes. If you have a Recurring Nightmare or Ravenous, but I think it just does not have that punch. So even if you rip off their hand, say against Replenish, I mean, anytime they draw replenish, you like die on the spot. So you need to like have some quick follow up, but you often just don't draw it. You draw 3 discard spells, Wall of Blossoms, and 3 lands, and one of them is Street of Village, so you're attacking for 3, and it's just too slow. So now what they do, and I like it a lot, they add that survival of the fittest, and they can have potential combo finish with like Great Whale, Palinchron. And you have the toolbox. So again, like you need to draw specific, because after all, Rock is mid-rangey control-ish deck. You want specific answers. Like sometimes Banish is the best card in the world, but sometimes.
So, sometimes it is. Sometimes.
And sometimes the round 1 begins.
Sometimes the round 1 begins. That happens. Yeah. And in fact, it's happening right now. So let's have a look at what we have here. Oof, okay.
Terrageddon.
We have a very nice Terrageddon here. There's a lot of shiny stuff in there.
A lot of shiny stuff, so we won't see anything. We'll be guessing what's on the screen.
It's going to be a great guessing game.
But I think this is I have to say, it's a beautiful deck.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like
this one is the one with the Oath of Druids, so no Weathered Wayfarers for us this time.
Unfortunately, but I think it's incredibly beautiful. Notice 3 Cataclysm that in this deck leaves you with like Sylvan Library, Mox Diamond, land, and Terravor that's quite big.
Sure.
So
looking forward to seeing this deck in action. And then we have Štěpán Vyskočil with Counter Rebels.
Yeah.
Oh my god, okay, this made me happy, seeing this deck in the feature match.
Of course, unbeatable rare that had to be banned in block constructed.
In block constructed.
Not in standard, in block constructed. Lane Cividev in Hero. I had it actually in a booster. So I felt now I have to, but I was more like disappointed because now I have to buy 3 more.
I did it a better way. For my name day, I got a booster pack of Nemesis, and there was a foil Linsiri. So still like one of my highlights of opening booster packs, maybe the highlight. And I traded it for 2 Linsiris.
And how old were you? What birthday?
I was a teenager. I was
like 14?
I'm gonna say 15,
14, yes.
Right. It was my first competitive deck.
Yes, and also Linsiri, one of the first legends in history that you play 4 of. It did not happen before because the old legend rule, you could have only one of those on the board, and if there was one, you could not cast yours. Then they changed it, so if your opponent had like Jason the Mind Sculptor, you could play yours and kill it.
Yeah.
So they both died.
Like when this was in standard, which rule are we talking about? Is it like whoever plays Linsiri first?
He has it.
It sticks.
Yes.
There's no way how to.
So it was like a lock piece.
Okay.
I have my Linsiri, so you don't have yours.
That sounds like so much fun.
But definitely this deck looks beautiful, and we will see how it fares. I mean, it's super hungry, super mana hungry deck.
It is,
I don't think we'll be seeing Jobel Queen in this matchup.
Maybe not. But look at this, like Thermal Glider, Nightwing Glider, all colors, color hosers, Standstill. You can go the turn 1 Surgeon, turn 2 Standstill play. I think that's actually super powerful.
I think that's probably what we want to see. But I may be surprised. Like it's mana hungry, as I said, but maybe I would expect some kind of days or something like that. Maybe.
Do the lands really work that way? Also, if you're playing Days, you're setting up yourself back one turn with Surgeons, right? Like you really want that 3 mana on turn 3.
I think one thing that I would like to point out is, or maybe like at least like 2 things. First, Remosian Surgeon can get Whipcorder, which is answer for like Dreadnought or Terravor, which can be super relevant. And second card that we don't see that very much is that like politically correct crusade for rebels, and that's Shared Triumph. I think that's how it's called.
It is,
oh no. I can't speak
Something
anymore.
terrible happened. Okay, there we go. We're legal again. Shared Triumph, it's even better than Crusade here. All your creatures are rebels.
And this is like the boomer in me likes that it's for all creatures of the type.
Even if you're playing Rebel Mirror Match, then
Wonderful. So we have starting. We had mulligans. So Štěpán mulligan to 5. He only has 3 cards in hand now, and Adam is drawing his 7th card.
Matej.
So Matej. So he did.
The names of our players are on the top. On the bottom, it's not me playing against Tomáš, but that's us commentators.
Yes.
So 5 cards, but then again, you okay, stuff is happening here.
That will be very tough for Štěpán.
Okay, it's just land must pass.
Okay. Stand still, come on, stand still.
Is it?
He will respond with swords to plowshares.
Wouldn't you actually just cast the swords if you had them? Because like there's mana leaks in the deck as well, right?
Yes.
So end of turn.
Sword? No,
Enlightened Tutor. Do we go for Oath?
Yes, I think so.
Huh. Okay.
But Štěpán has disenchant, so he can answer like whatever Matej wants to do.
So Matej basically just 2-for-1 himself? Kind of?
Yes, 2-for-1 himself. But as long as he does have disenchant, but since he does not have.
Oh, you meant like not in hand, but in the deck.
In the deck, yes,
sure,
yes.
right.
I did not see what he has in hand. I see swords to plowshares, so playing standstill would not be the right thing to do. I see Cataclysm. I see Secluded Step in Matej's hand.
Playing the Secluded Step, needing lands here. Okay, so now I mean, if Štěpán doesn't have the disenchant, he's going to be in a world of pain, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he can search for Whip Quarter, tap whatever Matej has,
but he clearly doesn't have it. Otherwise, he would be attacking with both of them.
That's true. Oh, okay. Like resolving oath, like having your opponent resolving oath.
The slight disadvantage of the version Matej is playing is that you have 6 creatures, and obviously you have some man lands, but you have 6 creatures and that's it. And what you now mill, including like the Street of Village, that's one less win condition.
Okay.
And Štěpán has like Whip Quarter. Štěpán has 4 swords to plowshares.
Okay.
So, and you have only six things, right? So in theory, in some ideal world that we probably don't live in, you can potentially just like kill all his threats. The problem is that the Terravor is getting like, if like first one you probably like swords to plowshare or whatever, but then the next Terravor's like one swing you die, so that's kind of the issue. But I think he's going for Whip Quarter.
But even now it's a 10-10, by the way.
Yeah.
So he's gonna go for Whip Quarter, sure.
I think what you can do somehow is like chum with like creatures, so you only have Whip Quarter, and you can be tapping the Terravor, maybe.
This is really...
What?
Find Falcon, we're gonna see Lin City here, maybe. But then like Matej is gonna mill some more, and that 10-10 Terravor is going to be bigger next turn when it attacks.
Like also what can happen is now no that does not work. Like standstill C doesn't work anymore.
No, because of the oath.
Yes, that's problematic.
So yeah, playing rebels, it's always an uphill battle. You know, you're a rebel fighting the dark, the evil empires.
I have to say I appreciate Štěpán's choice of lands.
What lands are those?
I think they are from one of the newer sets, and they try to look old.
They are doing a pretty good job at that.
Yes, they're doing very good. There's so many colors, it's almost dazzling me.
There's the Whip Quarter, and the Whip Quarter...
Will eat swords to plowshares.
Okay, so that was...
So that's the last card from hands.
Okay, so Whip Quarter sticks, but now... Oh, that's another 10-10 Terravor straight from the top. This was also... How many Whip Quarters is Štěpán playing, by the way? 2? 2. I think. So, unless he has both of them in his hand... But I was wondering, like, why didn't he search for one last turn?
Now I think you have to chump with everything but Whip Quarter, rip like swords to plowshares from the top, and try to stabilize the game that you'll be tapping for the rest of the game, the Terravor.
But that's really that. Like, how are you progressing your game? And that.
Well,
you're waiting for.
Well, other option is you die.
Okay.
I think there is no other thing. Like
because then he's gonna mill next turn again, and the Terravor
will get another creature.
The Terravor didn't get bigger this time, so I mean that's good for Štěpán, but I would be surprised if like it didn't get bigger now.
Yes.
Yeah. There's
and Thermal Glider is not going to cut it.
Unfortunately, I have some ideas what Štěpán might board out. Oof, these are gonna be some disgustingly big Terravors right there.
On the other hand, if Štěpán was able to counterspell like the Oath of Druids, we would have a game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I think Matej does not have much else. He has got Cataclysm and Sphere of Resistance.
Okay.
I like this land, by the way. I think it's very underplayed.
Riftstone Portal. Is it?
It gives all your lands, if it's engraved, and it has this little nice, like the old Cabal Therapy has that little tombstone, which I like a lot.
That's really neat.
And it just, you can see it on the screen. If it's in the graveyard, all your lands tap for green or white. So I think that's very cool.
You can discard it with Mox Diamond. At that point, you're ultimately fixed. Everything good taps for everything. So one of those Terravores is gonna get tapped. Now the question is.
Now he's jumping. One turn too late.
No, but the Terravores are too big. Okay, so there's a handshake. It's just for game one, but handshake there for good games. For the first one, we're gonna see more games. But Oath of Druid resolves, does its thing. I mean, there's.
How do you like Worship?
Do you think that Štěpán would be able to catch Matej unprepared? The trouble I think is that Matej has enlightened tutors, so if he keeps one Seal of Cleansing, which he might, probably suspecting something like.
But
even standstill,
yes,
right?
For sure, 4 annals come in. I think,
definitely.
And I think you just have to cut this expensive stuff. You have to cut Ramusin, Sky Marshal, Jobal Queen. But I can't read it. I remember names of those cards, which is, I think, quite telling.
So we should appreciate your experience.
Nightwing Glider and Thermal Glider and Ramusin Captain. I know them all.
That is amazing. You're an rebel encyclopedia.
Yes.
Have you ever played that deck yourself?
I'm not sure. Can I monetize this?
You could. Sure. You can put it up on the internet as services. People don't know.
Yes. What we missed. What we missed is a Meddling Mage, because it was in the bottom part of the screen.
That was the new card.
Yeah,
the new design card.
The new design card.
Did you board it in? The one at the very bottom right. Okay.
I think. Yeah, I think you bring. I think you bring it in because he really needs Oath.
Yeah.
Oath is the thing. You should be thinking Oath is the thing. So I think you want 4 annal for Meddling Mage, and you cut probably the expensive stuff. I think you want. I'm not sure about Standstill. I think it has to go out.
You don't have Wasteland for the opponent's Street of Village, right?
No, I don't. So, I'm not happy about it. You can maybe keep some, because in some situations it can be good if you have 2 rebels.
You're on the play, so maybe on the draw you cut all of them. On the play, maybe you still keep some. But
I wonder, would you bring it Cursed Totem?
Because it turns all the rebels into just vanilla creatures.
Yes, but their ability, let's face it, is so bad.
That's what they do. That's what they do.
Know.
What else?
I know, but it's
what I like about it is that the Whip Quarter doesn't tap anything anymore.
That's relevant, but maybe it's a card that maybe it doesn't do much. If he has 2-3 rebels, 1/1s, he plays the Shared Triumph. He's attacking for 6, and if you don't have. What are you cutting? I think you're cutting the Spear of Resistance.
Sure.
I'm not sure about that one. By the way, he only has 1 Enlightened Tutor. We didn't see that. There's one more in the sideboard.
Yeah, right. Then the question is how many Seal of Cleansings you want to keep post-board. What are you afraid of? Shared Triumph. Again, you sneak the seal in play first, you can answer your opponent's Standstill. I don't think Worship is going to be a player here, no?
It's probably not. But I think you just bring the creatures.
The Call of the Herd, more Exalted Angels.
I think Call of the Herd, Exalted. I think I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah. Why not? Makes sense.
Nice. I just want to say I don't see Sylvan Library. He plays 3.
Oh, he does. Yeah, the foil green cards on the top. One of the green foil cards in the top row, but the one all the way to the left.
By the way, can we see the Swords to Plowshares that's DCI foil?
Oh my! So was that a Judge promo? Or?
I think so. Many years ago.
Judge promos were good back then.
But I really did I always like the flavor text in those cards.
Yeah.
But I don't remember this one.
The foil Oath of Druids are also some kind of promo, maybe Judge promo as well. I think, right? And then the foil Brushland from 7th edition. Yeah, you just have to open a lot of packs for that. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, how I would ask how do you like the matchup, but
I think it's I mean one is well-established deck that's been crushing big tournaments, and one is a deck that most viewers have never seen.
Okay, I mean I would say that people know that the deck exists. I think that people have been trying to make that deck that good for some time, and I mean. if you go more on the blue-white aggro deck with not so much like Lin City, but more just sergeants searching with quarters, then that's an established strategy. I think we've seen some blue-white decks with Ramos Insurgent take down tournaments.
By the way, we have on stream. We have a question from Lapadu. As someone not that much invested in the format, does the non-rotating format constantly evolve? Do new decks, are there new decks, or is it solved? What I would say is like you have the card pool and you know which cards are like the best, but you can put them in different combinations in decks, and therefore I don't think it's totally solved. And also there is a big I think we can discuss it later. It's one of my big topics about Premodern, about the competitiveness, because I think there is, of course, people who play Dreadnought or Sly, but there are always people that like to brew and that like to do well. Of course, it doesn't always happen, but if you do well with a Fringer deck, that's the joy you have from the format. Very satisfying. That's me. You know, I don't want to play like the top deck.
So you would say that your approach to Legacy is very different than your approach to Premodern.
But I think in Legacy, if you win, that's good. And I'm not saying it's bad in Premodern, but I think you want to win in style.
Okay.
I think that's more like it. But honestly, in Legacy, I never play top deck. I build deck that's suits me. And no.
So I guess to answer the question, it's like one reason why the format stays fresh is that people like to brew, and people it's not like one of the most competitive formats out there. That being said, I would say that there's still the metagame is evolving. Like even the tier decks are evolving constantly. Maybe it's not so fast like the evolution in standard where you have new sets, but it is evolving.
So.
And also there's bans and unbans every now and then that shake the format up a little bit.
Yes.
But
we can talk about it later. But now we have the game's underway, and Terrageddon mulligan to 5, and Štěpán with his rebels is on 7. So of course Monk's Diamond, of course.
I mean that's what you mulligan into, right? Like you're trying to find the good cards. Oof, that's turn 1, tap your land. There's no Ramos in
but definitely, if there was a way how to help the weaker deck, okay, you keep 7, and the good deck you will mulligan to 5. So we'll see how this will play out.
No, I don't. I mean, I think even playing a fringe deck, it's kind of like a challenge. You know what the good decks are because you know the deck list, and you're just trying to you know which tools you need to beat them. Might as well get there. But okay, so I'm just wondering what's going on here because Štěpán kept his 7, but he's just on island pass. And of course maybe he is a more reactive hand
I mean, we saw his mana, and his mana is not ideal. He has 4 strand and 4 Adarkar waste, which is classic standard, but we all know how this works, how this mana base works, that you just sometimes don't get it.
Yeah, you need double white for Lin City.
You have double white for Lin City, you have double blue for Counterspell. Here's Adarkar waste.
Okay, but so a couple of questions here. We see probably an Exalted Angel from Matej, and
he's taking damage.
A ton of action. Meddling Mage. Oh, there's an Exalted Angel in play already. So are you just gonna let him untap and
it almost looks like he's putting in Enchantment Zone.
Is there such a thing? Enchantment Zone?
I don't know.
If you're playing Enchantress, the whole table is an Enchantment Zone. But okay.
Good point. But I have to say, when my opponent flips Exalted Angel, and I play a deck with heart removal for it, it feels good. He now spent 7 mana over the course of 2 turns.
A little drain life there.
He's not tapping your mana. So we'll see which Štěpán comes up with.
You have to come up with something, right? And this is the turn where Matej is not going to mess with your mana. So you have Whip Quarter in hand, you have second white, now is the time to play it.
Okay.
But I mean the window's gonna close. Because Matej has cards like Cataclysm, Armageddon. So if you're, I don't know what that meddling mage is naming. By the way, do we know what he named with the meddling mage?
I would imagine Oath of Druids or Swords to Plowshares, but
Oath of Druids when Matej already led with Exalted.
Yes, but I mean you maybe answer it. Swords to Plowshares I don't like so much because you play it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Štěpán's gonna take 2.
That's very painful, Lincivit.
For a Lincivit, I suppose he's not gonna attack. That is the enchantment zone actually. Like it looks like meddling mage is there just to spectate. I was looking for some attack for 2, but okay, Exalted Angel comes across.
Štěpán is
that mana base is painful.
He's on 9. That's
all right, that's the Cataclysm there. So Štěpán will have 1 creature, 1 land, whereas Matej will have Mox, Exalted Angel, and Mage. Mox Diamond. Mox land and Exalted Angel. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, like you need the answer to that Exalted Angel, and then if you don't,
he will be tapping you. On the other hand, he has Lincivit, and a Lincivit. Why didn't he attack like with a meddling mage?
Did we miss something with the meddling mage? Why is it still there?
Well, he did. Oh yeah, it's still
Is it an enchantment?
Is that meddling mage, right?
It is a meddling mage, I believe. It was a meddling mage, I should say.
Well,
so like you search for Recorder, next turn you start tapping, right?
I mean, it's still fine. You need land.
But Matej has a Rishon import, so he can mess with your white mana.
Oh, there's
okay.
Oh no.
That looks like the game to me.
Why not to attack?
I mean, it's pointless.
No,
it's terrible.
No, it's not pointless. There's exactly 1 point of damage in that.
It is. Yeah, you're right. It's not pointless. It's pointful. There's the 1 point of damage. The rebels. I think at this point they're gonna.
That's a shame.
They're just.
But I was like proper beating.
Yeah. Oath of Druids, Cataclysm, and Matej is.
Seems like 3 mana, 1/3 do nothing, is worse than like 3 + 4 mana kill you.
This is the last offense that the rebels are trying to put up.
Did he tap other card ways to take?
No, it was upkeep.
Oh yeah,
upkeep.
Right.
Like you could search with Lincivit, but like you're just searching Sergeant at the point.
But you're not drawing that Sergeant, right? He brought it.
Okay, now we have some idea about now. So now he has to have like plain swords, otherwise it's
and since he doesn't have either, I don't think it's going to.
Okay, attack you down to 31, so close, and that's it, I guess. Okay.
How many times did you forget to attack?
Check. So you mean like Matej could have been at like 28 instead of 31?
No. Like I remember.
Oh, you mean like how many times I forgot to attack?
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I remember playing.
Absolutely sure I forgot to attack.
Yes, I remember playing end of turn Vendilion click. Seeing my combo opponent doesn't have it. I was so happy that I forgot to attack next turn.
Against combo, 3 points of damage.
Yes.
That can easily turn into like 1 more life draw for them to draw their combo. Did you win?
I still won, and my friend was like reminding me like 3 years later.
It's a trauma. He still remembers like. Okay. Yes. No, I mean I'm absolutely sure I forgot to attack. It's just mistakes happen, right? And I think at that point, the most important thing is not to let it affect you. Like you forgot to attack. Okay, so what? You're just gonna next turn you're gonna attack and try to get there, right? Like
absolutely. By the way, just to react to some of the chat, I think we have because we have some time for the end of the round. One of the things was that there's opinion and there's always the debate about it whether we should ban whether Premodern should allow or not allow the modern prints. And I think the ideal is that you have deck that's all like old design
and foil.
No, I'm against that. I'm against foils.
Here and there. Yeah. Okay. I get
your
point. I get your point.
But I think we want to have old design. But I mean, if you like, for example, if you want to play blue white standstill, and if you buy the cheapest version of the card, every card is like 5 crowns, 7 crowns.
Did you play humility?
No, you don't play. No,
you don't play
well,
that.
humility. Okay, but I mean, all these like whatever counter spells, disenchant.
Yeah, there are definitely decks that are accessible. I would say like Dead Guy Ale, maybe the what's it called, Captain America, the blue people. It has different names. I would say blue, white, red, Lightning Angel decks.
Oh,
We haven't
I
seen
think
them in
it's
the
called
format,
Solution in Premodern.
Could be.
It's called Solution,
But
it could be Team America if you like. It makes you happy.
Which team you are on, yeah. But sure, these decks are accessible. You can play like all new versions.
Yes.
Mismatched.
A friend of mine, he's playing goblins,
Mhm.
and he has mismatched even the prints within the cards. So he has like 4 different matrons and things like that. And
That's
I
a
think,
lifestyle. At that
yeah,
point,
I think he does it on purpose.
I'm pretty sure he does, yeah. And they're all new frame.
Yes, new frame. So I don't even know if it's war chief or what. So he's not. It's he does it on purpose. He doesn't care about mental health of other players. You know, we always say how very communal and very friendly it is, but some people are vicious.
I mean, why not? Why not? It's yeah. I think we've seen there was this guy who like altered his cards to be white bordered.
Mm-hmm.
I think also there are conflicting opinions on that. If you have a white bordered Tarmogoyf, is it a piece of art? Is it some kind of abomination that just shouldn't happen? I'm more in the camp of like it's something special. Yeah, why not? Sure. So
Honestly, it's kind of special to play Tarmogoyf these days.
oof, I don't really think I play any formats where Tarmogoyf is legal anymore. Is it a good card in Legacy these days?
No.
No.
It's not played at all.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to compare it, but if you don't know, you can Google Barogoyf, and you will
Oh,
understand.
so there are better Goyfs now.
There is a Goyf that's black. It's 1 mana more. Okay, it does the same thing. Okay, 1 mana more, but it's a lifelink.
Okay.
It has Death Touch.
Ooh.
And when it deals damage to player, you mill that many cards if you want, and you can put creature back into your hand. So it draws cards and gives you 5 life. And
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of not close.
Yeah, that's what happens to other formats. Not Premodern though. Like good cards are still good 7, 8, 10 years later. You know, there's no risk that your good cards would get outmatched by
They
something
will just
new.
unban Bargain and everything's different. Or Necropotence.
Sure.
By
But
the way,
okay.
for the record, we think Bargain is too strong.
To me, it's like as long as the Academy Rector in the format, you can't bargain because like, I mean, without Rector, is Bargain still that good? Like, would it still do things? Like 6 mana? How do you cheat it in play? Show and tell, maybe show and tell Bargain.
You can show and tell Bargain. You have Petals, Dark Rituals. I'm not so sure. How would you approach it? Because I remember, like back in the day, you played that Familiar for 5 mana. I don't remember the name, but I would remember. You discard a card, you get a black mana.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It was a Scourge.
Scourge
think. It was
Familiar?
some kind of, it could be, I think.
Something like that.
So that's like once you assemble that with Bargain, you just need to gain some life here and there and you're good.
Yes, you were playing some Soul Feasts. And
But,
that was the standard.
Is it really
deck.
too good for Premodern? I think it's like if you have a fringe combo deck that uses Bargain with a Scourge Familiar, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yes, but I
know,
think it would maybe look different today. We would play very maybe differently today. But definitely, obviously, the power of Bargain, whether it was banned or it's only restricted.
Yeah.
It's only you can only really play it in. If I'm not mistaken, you can only play it in Vintage, and it's restricted. You can play one.
Okay.
Because like drawing the card right away, it's just so strong.
You just go off on that turn.
So with Necropotence, it works like differently.
Yeah.
You get the cards at the end of turn. Of course, you can still do maybe something instant speed or no. With Necropotence,
it's end of turn.
End step.
Yeah.
It's end step, and then you get the cards.
Yeah.
So we have a comment that the Counter Rebel was my first deck when I was going back into Magic. I mean, there's some nostalgia with it.
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why he had it on the feature match as well.
Yes.
It is a sweet deck. It is a sweet deck for sure.
Yes, I'm thinking what would have to happen for the deck to be a little bit better Maybe if he had slightly better draws, I'm not really sure.
Sure, like he never drew he had disenchants in his deck against Oath game 1, he just didn't draw them. He had Swords to Plowshares, I suppose, post board against the Exalted Angel, he didn't draw them. So it's kind of like, but that's what happens when you have threats and answers. Threats are always better than answers because there will be games where you draw the threats, your opponent doesn't have the answers, or you don't draw it, you draw something else, and they have dead cards. So that's how it works.
And I think it was like he had Mog's Diamond on the play with Enlightened Tutor into Oath.
Yeah, it was a pretty
so he
quick
couldn't
Oath.
even like Mana Leak, if I'm not mistaken, if he had it.
It was fast. It was fast, yes. And so maybe one of the reasons why Counter Rebels seems like they're just not quite there yet.
And they will never be.
I mean, never say never. Maybe something will happen. Yes. But it's you're trying to do your win condition is super slow, let's say, and it's kind of clunky. It's your guys die to removal. And so it's like being a control, but with creatures to finish the job.
I mean, the idea of this deck is like you play Remusian Surgeon and you play turn 2 Standstill, or you have Mana Leak from turn 2 on, and then that's it.
It's not a bad start, especially if you're on a play. Yeah, why not? Another problem for me with Rebels is that like if you're on the draw, it just feels like you're like not just one turn behind, but like 2 turns behind, right?
Yes.
Because the format does tend to be quite fast. But who knows? Maybe somebody will break it. At some point, we will find good Rebels deck. I'm certainly hoping that I will live to see that day. I might even try to play Rebels at some point. I wouldn't rule it out. But it is definitely one of the fringe decks out there. Speaking of fringe decks, we mentioned before this